Welcome back to the Nullified Take channel here on YouTube, where we've got the TNT takes for you on Squid Game, the challenge. Except you're probably thinking, where's Chris? Where's Chris? Where is he? Well, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Mucky is here to take over with the Mucky Take. I'm your host, Mucky, and today I'm joined by a very special guest. We did $1 Million Island together, and it's been a bit of a while since we've done a podcast together, but we did the Squid Game preview, and now we're here for the first 5-episode recap. I'm joined by the one, the only, the BK Big Kahuna! How's it going, Kahuna?
Mucky!
How's it going?
Good, buddy. Good, man. How you doing?
I was gonna try sing along like how does it go? Dora do she sing? I don't know.
I just always go.
Yeah.
I just make up any sound.
Oh, but how have you been, brother?
I'm good, man. I had to wrestle. I bought this specifically for today. I was like, I'm gonna buy a thingy. So, just to act, like that's the way I think. I'm all about, the show. I'm here for the people, and I wanted to do this, and then I had to fight my son for it because as soon as I had it, he's been wearing it nonstop, and he may have a career or a future in podcasting because my 5-year-old son is like, Dad, what if I wear it and just stand in the background the whole time? He even grabbed his hoodie out of the cupboard and was wearing it. He doesn't have a red hoodie, so he was wearing a Pokemon hoodie because it had red on it. So I don't know, I've but I could have had a little minion standing right behind me with the I went triangle over square over circle, but
absolutely.
How you doing, my man?
What did the savage triangle say to the circle?
What did the savage triangle say to the circle?
You're pointless.
Oh, that is just like triangle, isn't it?
Yeah, it's classic triangle. Triangle would always be.
He's so sharp. He's so sharp.
Yeah, but I'm doing really good. And Kahuna, I am so excited and so happy to talk to you about these first 5 episodes. When I was about to watch it, I was thinking, Squid Game, the Korean drama, is such a great show. It smashed through the #1 spot onto every country's Netflix recommendations. I was thinking, the reality show, no, it's probably not going to hold up. It's still going to be fun nonetheless. But I think this is up there as well. Some of the best reality TV I have seen.
I mean, we know that the series itself was a global phenomenon. It really did infiltrate the entire consciousness of the world. Like pop culture was Squid Game for a good 6 months solid, right? And we got lots of people in the chat who I know were looking forward to it because it was that show. I was worried too. First of all, again, I said this last week in our preview. They literally called it the challenge.
Yeah.
I mean, Squid Game is probably the most original name ever because it made no sense to the Western world. I mean, everyone in Korea was like, Squid Game. Yeah, we play Squid Game
Yeah,
growing
yeah.
up.
It's a
Everyone else
video
is like,
game.
what am I doing with squids? I don't
Yeah,
like what is that? Obviously is an amazing show. They go the most original name for a program which has phenomenal like recognition value, and they put on the most generic basic name that is already pre-existing IP that is a similar reality competition world. So it's fascinating that they did it. But the Squid Game part of the Squid Game, the challenge name, is certainly strong enough to carry it because, man, what a first 5-episode release that they've done.
yeah. It's been phenomenal. Not just the games, but the cast has been really great as well. I feel like we've had an amazing group of characters. Some people we literally don't get to see, unfortunately. But I guess that's what's always going to happen with 456 people. But yeah,
It's a lot. It's a
the
lot.
games and even the tests, the new
Yeah.
twist came out. They have been fantastic. Like my jaw's been dropped every time that there's been a new test.
It's so like one thing that I really did praise the show for, and I was telling my wife just today, I was like, I felt a bit funny about the show originally because the whole point of Squid Game, right, was it is a commentary on society and how badly
Yeah.
the world is about, and they go, let's make a show out of it, a reality show out of it.
Yeah.
Of course, they made a reality show out of it, right? It makes perfect sense. But I was like, I don't know if in the drama Squid Game, obviously there's a big prize involved, but a lot of the intensity and the drama and the feeling of it came from the absolute dire consequences of not succeeding in the game, right?
Yeah.
They literally die. Like, if you do
Yeah.
not go well in the game, you are dead. And that built with it, like, it had an inbuilt sense of tension, knowing that the stakes are so high. And for a game like this, which is a reality competition game show, I assume at this point, I don't know, because I do remember there was some news earlier in the year that people were suing Netflix because of the show and stuff. So I don't know exactly, but I'm going to assume that everyone that leaves the show is still alive. I don't think they're dead. I don't think they've been murdered by Netflix and production. So the consequences and the stakes certainly aren't as high as death, but the show still makes you feel it. Like it really captures like the intensity and the brutalness. It just feels like every time something happened, every time there's a twist, every time there's an elimination, it just felt like a gut punch to not only the people there, but to us, the watchers. And for them to be able to achieve that for a reality game show, I don't feel that same level of uneasiness and like sadness and the hits that you take when I'm watching a Survivor, when I'm watching a challenge, when I'm watching whatever it is, $1 Million Island. But in this one, I'm like, oh, like it just feels so brutal and savage every time one of these twists takes them for a turn. I'm right there with them. You know, it's amazing.
Yeah. I think it's because we're living it as the players are seeing it, right? You know, there's something that I guess Survivor, you know, $1 Million Island and these other shows, like you can kind of see the twist coming, right? Or like we've seen like the twist before, but you know, like that Jackbox twist, for example, that we'll definitely get into, but later on, how someone literally rolled it up and it just said, "You are eliminated."
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, or eliminate 3 people right then, right now. You know,
3.
3.
I mean, the producers are coming up with some like twists and stuff. Like we were worried. Obviously, in the show, there wasn't enough challenges to fulfill a 10-episode season, and they're going to add some games to it. And we were hoping that they wouldn't just be sort of crappy generic ones. We saw Battleship, or sorry, trademark Warships. They kept saying Warship. I'm like, Warships. We all know what you're doing here. Sorry, Hasbro. It's freaking Battleship, mate. But it's the twists. It's the tests. It's the tests that are like, really, you have no idea what's coming. Like I'm digging it. I'm really, really digging it. It's so unique.
Yeah, it's quite funny because we're less than 100 players at the moment, and we've only just reached the halfway point in the game. Like eventually they're going to run out of players for games at this point.
Yeah, I don't know how that's going to play out because they are like George R. R. Martin at the Red Wedding, man. Like this.
But
Oprah handing out eliminations. You've been eliminated. You've been
you've been
eliminated.
eliminated.
Everybody's been eliminated.
But before we continue, let's say hello to a few people in the chat. We've got Koalas here. Is the show good? Yes. Would you agree, Kahuna?
It's great. It genuinely is a great reality competition show, and I'm loving every second of it. From the production, like the sets, like replicating the TV show, like even like the staircase thing, like the maze stairs, completely pointless. Does not contribute to the show in any way. It didn't really in the drama anyway, but what it did was build that like weird, awkward. This is a strange world. It's uncomfortable. It's very different, and it, and they replicated that to still build that feeling when it's completely has no implication of the game. Like that's the level of detail that they're going for. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, something I found as well is like you feel the intensity because the players feel it, right? Like Devish, one of the games we'll be going up to, the cookie one, we literally had a contestant on the verge of vomiting. Like you can like hear it in his throat as he's just trying to breathe, and it's so disgusting. But like even the players are like breaking down at all these different twists in games because they feel the intensity, and I feel like that's translating really well on screen to the audience as well.
Yeah, completely. I mean, I know it's the combination. Like we've talked about, we don't necessarily know what it's like to be out on the island for Survivor, how hard it is, and when you're starving, and when you're isolated from family and all that sort of thing. You don't know how you would react. Maybe that's why they do moves that we wouldn't suggest. Maybe that's why they're not able to perform the way we would want them to perform. But in a show like the Squid Game, like when you've got the IP and the knowledge and the background of how dark and full on the drama is, and then you're standing in the same room with 400 people in that environment, it's got to be a bit of a mind F word, like it would be hard to be in there. And that's part of the beauty of it, is that like part of the game is the torture of the experience itself, like being in that pressure cooker environment with 455 other strangers, or 454 if you're not the mother and son. But like you know what I mean, like the circumstances itself provides a lot of difficulty and intensity that we don't see built in or baked into the recipe of normal shows.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's say hello to a few other people. Caswash, welcome to the live. I also watched like the last couple of episodes yesterday. Hey, Lena. Yes, great candidates for the challenge. What's your thoughts on the cast so far? Like, are you really enjoying the cast? Are you finding the cast for average? Like, what's your overall thoughts so far?
No, I love the cast. Fascinating. And I like we said in the preview, one thing that will work in the show's advantage is when you have 456 people, you increase your averages of getting some really, really strong people on there, right?
Yeah.
So it's not that when you have a cast of 18, you need to hit every single casting choice or a very large majority and not have duds in that small cast. But when you have 400 people, you're going to give yourself a lot of characters to pick from, and hopefully some rise to the top. And a lot of them have. Like I think what they've been smart with, I know for certain a couple of very popular social media influencers on TikTok and things like that are in the cast. So they're getting people in there that will promote and blah, blah, blah. I also know, I saw, even though, like, I don't know if everyone else picked up on this, but there was an American Gladiator from the 80s that was on this show. His name was Wolf. Like massive popular dude, like in the 80s. The original version of American Gladiator, Wolf was on it, looking all of his 50 odd years or whatever, however old he is. Unfortunately, he went out in red light, green light immediately. But like they're putting people in there. Not a lot. There's 456, so you can take a gamble on a few different influences there. But there's a few TikTok people that I saw prior to the show. In fact, one of them was Steven, one of the Mullet Bros, right?
Yeah.
He's actually huge on TikTok. And when I first saw the trailers for the show, I was like, that looks like that dude from TikTok, man. But on TikTok, he's very like, he's funny. It's a funny TikTok. He's a comedic family TikToker. And then when he
Okay.
was on the show, he's very down, like not down. He's part of the Gambu gang
Yeah, he
crew,
was
and he's
one of
a
the
big
leaders.
character,
Yeah.
one of the leaders. But I felt like his personality was toned down a little bit. And when he mentioned that he was a dad, I was like, it is him. Like, so they're putting people in there that they know and will perform well. But even beyond them, like there's some characters on here that are just great for TV, and I'm loving them.
Yeah, me too. I mean, it sucks because I was writing notes, Kahuna, the entire time I was watching. I'd be like, oh, this person seems like they'll be a big character for the future. Oh, well, they're dead. Like, they would die like the next game or like the one after. And I was
Yeah.
saying to V about it. It's like, what is the winner's edit for Squid Game, right? Because you've got all these different main characters and whatnot, and I'm trying to figure it out. I can't figure it out because some people they hype up just to kill them off, or there's still some people with an edit on the show at least, but how far are they really gonna get? Because even one of my personal favorite characters, his name was Brian. I was so hyped behind him. I was like, this guy is like the epitome of piss people off, but just like challenge beast your way to the end, right? And
Which one? Which one's that?
hang on. I knew some people would ask, which is why I've prepared a Google slide with as many of the main characters as I could think of. Right, share screen. Right, that's B. So this is Brian.
Brighton.
Oh, Brighton. Oh gosh. So sorry. I might mispronounce a couple of names by accident, but
it's you got it. It's just a Kiwi accent.
Yeah, it is a Kiwi accent. Unless if it ends with bro, they will mispronounce it. But I loved him. I thought that he was playing a very entertaining game. I was backing him the entire way. And then he was out in the third episode. And I was thinking he was going to be like the main villain, like the gangster guy in the Korean drama, like for Doc Soo. I thought, Brighton's going to be the big villain.
He's a frat bro. He's a frat boy.
Yeah, exactly. He's a. We'll definitely talk about it soon. But yeah, I was like, no, this guy is going to go pretty far, but then get taken before the end. And it's gone by the third episode. And it's like, well, all my notes on him being the big bad villain are gone.
Yeah.
It's all gone. But for me, I love the cast. The cast is great. But let's get into a few more comments here. I don't know about you guys, but that voice coming from the dog was freaky. I kept thinking she's about to crack up laughing. Player 324, you are eliminated. Yeah,
I want that job, man. I want that. But I want to do it with like full. I want the guy with the Aussie dude, which I didn't know was Aussie, but we found out in episode 5 with the blonde, like weird hair and the pedo stash.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, it's all good. I've got one too. Oh my gosh.
I want him to do it and go, yeah, player 198, you're out, mate. Just like, come on, like the voice of Squid Game is just some really yobbo Aussie accent, or like a really cool like Maori accent. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
no, you're out, bro.
Oh, sorry, cuz. Looks like you're going to go home. It's a
shit.
Fish and chips all on the beach. Oh shit, bro. Oh
shit, bro.
Sorry.
That'd be great.
That'd be so funny. Okay, so between us chatters, did you scan the room for Chris? I figured he would be on there. Well, a certain funny story I'd like to share with everyone. I actually applied.
Yeah, someone from TNT applied.
Someone from TNT applied. Not only was I harassing Chris to get on the show, like to talk about the show, I was also harassing the producers to get me on the show. The key is to just keep harassing, and unfortunately, I did not make it on. But Kahuna, you know me really well. We've podcasted about a few shows together. You know my cunning, strategic mind at this point. With these first 5 episodes, do you think in these first 5 episodes I would have done well? Honest thoughts.
No. Nah, well, I mean, only because you stated yourself, like clumsiness maybe is a thing, like athletic ability, as far as coordination goes. There's a lot of you. What is it, 6'4",
Hmm.
6'3"?
Yeah, I'm 6'4".
6'4". That's
6'4". Yeah.
it takes a while for the electrons to get from the brain to the ends of the fingertips, right? So like it's
Yeah.
longer for the message to get across. Would
Ooh.
you have, like, as soon as your brain said the doll's thing stop? Yeah, like maybe like it
Oh
just
yeah.
takes that microsecond. I don't. You probably would have done great, man. I think socially, like in the dorm, would have been good. But to be
Yeah.
honest with you, it doesn't matter if you're strategic or not. There's so much of the game which is completely out of everyone's hands. It's just luck. It's just
Yeah.
like, oh, you picked up the phone.
That was
Now
a
you're
great
screwed.
twist. Yeah, I love that twist. That was so good. I
Like you
love.
don't know what's gonna happen.
Would you like a chocolate muffin? Oh, cheer, my bro. Would you like a chocolate muffin? Yeah, cuz. um, what are some of these other comments here? Okay, what show you are shot and you see them collapse? Oh yeah, no, that was pretty. Have you noticed that whenever a contestant has been eliminated, they just do a bit.
That's true.
There's full
That's true.
right on over.
I did like when they committed to it too. Like you saw some people go and then gonna smile and lie down, but the ones that full like they were the best ones. They're like, you committed to the role, buddy. You're on Squid Game. You are in Squid Game, and you died like you're in Squid Game. Good job. Good job.
Yeah. We do see it. Lorenzo is another I'd love to see on the challenge. He was the one who stole all the extra food.
Yeah.
Do you know who Lorenzo is, or do I need to show you?
Yeah. Good old Johnny Two Meals.
Yeah, Johnny Two Meals. Yeah, I found it so funny. Like, because this obviously happened in the Korean drama as well, where, Doc Soo and his gang, they went back in line for seconds, and that's what started the drama, which caused, the lights out sequence, and all start killing each other with the flashing lights and everything. I was thinking, oh, is someone going to miss out on food? But
we still haven't seen that play out. That's the next game, I think.
You reckon, people get to miss out on food?
They turn the lights off and then they just, straight up slaughter each other.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about how I'd like to do this with you, Kahuna. I think it'll be good to talk about the Squid Games from the show, and we'll talk about how they all sort of played out, and then we'll talk about the new stuff.
Yeah, good. I'm worried, man, because we already have gone 22 minutes. We talk for an hour or more about a 1 hour show. We got 5 episodes. I did an hour and a half this morning on Survivor, and now I'm going to do 5 episodes of a show that I'm like amazed by. So let's go.
Let's give it go. Well, thank goodness we don't have the vault in our comments, stirring stuff up, so we don't have to spend an hour, clicking back and forth. But so let's talk about red light, green light. So something that I noticed, Kahuna, because what I've been trying to do is I've been trying to keep track between how many players get eliminated per game on reality TV version and how many players got eliminated during the Korean version, right? Because I think it'll be interesting to see what the numbers are like for each, to see, who is smarter, scripted Korean characters or people from the real world, right? And here's something interesting for you. So with red light, green light and the Korean drama, majority of the deaths were from people who realized, if you move, you get shot. So they all ran away and all got shot. But they still had 201 players left at the end, right? Because then they did the voting thing, and it was exactly 100, and the odd man was the deciding vote. But for this one, I believe they dropped down to 180.
Yeah, they lost 260 people. Was it 259 actually? You know why I know it's 259?
How?
Because I was watching it with my daughter, and I was like, "Wow, that's a lot. That's like 260 people." Like just quickly approximating math in my head, and then when it came out at 259, my daughter's like, "What?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that is smart. You remember that?"
Actually, there's probably a great question to ask you. You know, you're watching the show with your kids. I assume
Yes.
your kids haven't seen the Korean drama.
Oh no, I'm a horrible father. No.
Oh,
They have not seen the Korean drama. They've not seen the Korean drama. But they were very excited. Like again, Squid Game was just so popular that they were playing it on Roblox. We talked about you were
yeah.
playing it on you were probably griefing my 5-year-old boy like in Squid because he was you were the one that he was crying about. They keeps killing me in the
Maybe,
game.
maybe.
But yeah, no, but when I found out there was going to be a version of my daughter did say it like beforehand. She was like, "Oh, yeah, this is a this is Nova.
Hello. Hi,
Hello.
Nova. How are you?
I can't hear you, but she did say beforehand.
I kind of did.
Yeah,
Barely.
she was like, "Oh, I don't know if I want to watch this, Daddy, because there's blood." So she knows, right? But yeah, like because it's a reality show, I said there's no blood. It's fine. They're all alive. It's gonna be okay. I'm being joined by everyone right now. I'm getting invaded. This is the quiet office recording time.
The quiet.
I've already done. Sorry, it's out of control. I apologize.
It's all good.
All right,
Um,
thank you, kids. Go. You can take the mask if you want. Where's your baby brother?
Right there.
Oh my
What
gosh.
Sorry, one of Kahuna's kids is going to pull out a bag of marbles soon, and we're going to see a live game of marbles.
I got too many of them. Sorry, very unprofessional.
It's all, you want a podcast with me, mate? Is anything I do professional, Kahuna? That's very.
Close the door, please. You wouldn't have this on Rob Has a Podcast, that's for sure.
No.
All right.
That's why with the Mucky take, though, right? You know,
Yeah,
kids
so
can
no,
come and go
they
with-
did not watch the drama, but they were excited to watch the reality show, and I was certainly happy to let them because, you know, if they can start watching reality shows with me and they actually like it, then that's even better. I can watch Survivor with them. I can do all that sort of stuff. Because right now, they have the attention span of like, I'm scared. They are cute. Baby Kahunas are very, very cute. Thank you. Yeah, like the attention span they have for anything that's not animated is ridiculously bad. I blame like YouTube and the fact that they only watch these cartoon animated pieces of crap that just, you know, dopamine hits straight to the vein. So they can't really pay attention to shows. But Squid Game, I was like, let's do it. They run in and out, they're fighting every now and then. What would they do? But you know, they're kind of paying attention. So there's no violence, there's no swearing, there's no nudity yet. So you know,
Yet.
but I like it. They're enjoying it so far. They were definitely keen to watch it.
Awesome. Yeah. Are they like enjoying the show despite, you know, with, I guess they've got the Roblox backstories and they see stuff like, you know, red light, green light, and the cookie game, and even the mention of marbles as a big cliffhanger in episode 5.
Yeah.
Are they like enjoying watching the contestants go through there?
Yeah, I guess so because it's just games, right? It's games
Yeah.
that kids play. Like my daughter Nova was like, oh, this is the cookie. I was like, the cookie one, and she goes, it's Dalgona, Dad. Like, I go, what? I go, oh no, it's not cookies. What is it? Starts with D. She goes, Dalgona. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, okay. So they know stuff, man. She's on it. You know what I mean? She's interested in it. But it was. I don't know. Like, is the appeal of the show so far? Because we've both stated we love it, right? It's an amazing show. People in the chat are saying that they're digging it too. But is it because of the Squid Game challenges themselves so far? Or is it everything else involved?
I think it's a mixture of things. I think there are 3 different fronts that are making the show fantastic. I think you've got people are intrigued because of the idea of like reality TV and Squid Game, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like new era Survivor almost, where people have learned and they know everything about the game Survivor. So it's like people have seen Squid Game, you know, they know the games. So they go in thinking that, you know, oh, like with this game, I'm going to do this. You know, everyone thought, okay, tug of war's next. So let's all befriend Brightons who be on our team. But then it's Warships, right? And then the big cliffhanger at the end of episode 5 where everyone gets a picnic basket and they're all there with their best mates or with their mum and whatnot. But then they find that there's a bag of marbles at the bottom of it. So they find ways to sort of trick players.
See,
into what the game's
point, if we go from the start, right, and we're talking, the picnic scene is the last episode, and it is the cliffhanger with the marbles.
Yeah.
We were watching that, me and my wife, going, don't go with your friend. Like, when they're like, you get a treat, it's a picnic. I'm like, no, it's not. Like, if you're pairing up, like, as far as when you're talking about strategy and they know it and they're really tricking them and stuff, I feel like even at this point, they should be picking up on some of those tricks, or at least not necessarily anticipating what they are, but there may be some, right? You need to be a little bit more on your toes, but because maybe you're right, but because maybe it wasn't in the drama, they're just not even thinking it would divert from that same path. They thought they have it figured out, but I was watching going, don't go with your mom, dude. Like, what are you doing? Like I don't know what's going to happen next, but just do not go with your mom just in case. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you need to be thinking that paranoia, like, what's next? Because so far they've thrown some loops at them, and every 5 minutes there's multiple times an episode where the entire cast is like, like they're just completely shocked, and then still volunteer to run for the for the boxes. They're like, yep, I'm gonna line up. Yep, cool. Let's answer the phone a second time. All right, let's picnic together. Like, it's fun. Like, no, this show is brutal. Like, they are picking them off like so fast with zero chance, zero opportunity for the people to actually, like, sometimes when it's not even up to you, like the games, you at least play a part, except for like that. Sorry, Hasbro. Warship, if you're like in a boat, if you're just standing there like a putz in a boat, you literally have no control about your fate in the game, right? Zero control. And there are some of the things that just, you don't even have a chance to influence someone for tribal council. There's no way you can rally the votes. You can't go down into the sand in the challenge and win your way back via elimination. Like, there's like sometimes it's just, you're done. Your game is over. Like, there's zero chance. You didn't even stuff up the cookie or the Dalgona. Sorry, Nova. You didn't even stuff up the Dalgona. You didn't even stuff up red light, green light. But just because someone over there picked you, you're gone. Like, it's such a brutal game. I'm really loving it.
Yeah, and I think because of all these different twists, it's keeping the audience very intrigued as well. Because I feel like it was like a repeat of just a Korean game. We might get, potentially we're a bit bored of it, like, oh yes, we've kind of seen this, whatnot. But the changing up the original games as well, like a twist that I really loved how they did this, was the introduction to the Dalgona game. How they had 4 different lines.
Very smart. Very
smart. Because originally, and this is one of the problems I had talking about in our preview, is that when it came to the Dalgona challenge, no one's picking Umbrella.
Yeah.
And with the marbles one, when people realize, oh, we have to pair up, it's like, no one's obviously going to pair up with their best friend, so we're not going to get a emotional scene again like we did in the Korean drama. But with the Dalgona one, the person at the front of the line and into the 4 rows went into the arena, and they had to unanimously agree on what shape they're all going to do. And if they did not unanimously agree within 2 minutes, all of them are eliminated. And then they have to do the process again.
What do you even do there? It's so hard, right? Like, how do you convince anyone except for someone with complete anxiety and a lack of confidence to even stand up for himself at all? He said, like, he doesn't even, he's getting out of his shell more as he gets older. This poor bloke, man. I was like, oh, I felt so bad for him. As soon as it announced what was happening, like that he was going to be next, he's already doubled over and like dry heaving. I'm like, oh, this poor bloke. If he didn't step up, if he wasn't next, how many rows actually go before someone picks the umbrella? Because it's like almost like a death sentence either way, right? I'm gonna die right now if I don't pick it, but if I pick the umbrella, like I might as well be going home anyway. Like, it's such a hard choice to put them to, with a time clock, with the consequence being you're gone. Brilliant decision to put these people to such a hard choice. I love that.
And what's also great as well as the whole social aspect of it, right? Because it's not what you're doing, it's what the rest of your entire row is doing. So you could potentially be screwing over, like, you know, X amount of people, like 80 people, for example.
But it's also like the people in the line are like, how can you pick? Like, don't pick umbrella. Do not pick umbrella. No matter what, just don't pick umbrella. Like, you fight for it. But also, they're not taking into account that, hey, man, if I do that, I'm going home. Like, you want me to get circle for you, but I'm screwed if I don't, like, pick something in 2 minutes. Like, it's such a dynamic of, you know, do you worry about yourself? Do you worry about the team? Do you, like, because either way, I'm going home. I have to do something. It's just, how influential are you? How fast are you to get to that point? How will it, like, even then, like, there were people that were like, I got here first. I'm not moving. I'm sticking to it. We got to, was it 4 rows? Did 4 lots of 4 go through?
I think it was 3 rows. So it was 3 lots of people win.
And then
all
the fourth
of them got
one
eliminated, and then the fourth one was with Brighton. And
so the first dude that was like, I'm not picking umbrella. Nah, stuff it. 2 minutes. I don't care. I'm not picking it. Didn't know necessarily. Like, I had an idea, like, but didn't know with certainty that they would be eliminated. Right. The second row did. The third row did. So even faced with that, it's still very difficult to get someone or convince anyone to take that umbrella unless you get the perfect person that will cave not immediately. He wanted to be. He was like, he acted tough for a second. He's like, "Hey, let me talk." All right, buddy. Like,
it was so funny where he's like, "Hey, let me talk. Brighton, you will help me if I pick the umbrella." And you know, Brighton did such a great job. I'd be like, "Yes, of course, yeah, man. Like, we're bros.
I'll spit on your cookie. I'll spit on your cookie for sure."
Yeah, exactly. And then as soon as he touched the umbrella, and the first rule the announcer announced was, you cannot help other players, and that they're all going to be doing it separately as well. It was
genuinely brilliant.
Yeah,
even the edit of splicing that together in that timing, like putting that all together, the intensity. Oh, he's going to get help, blah, blah, blah. And then boom, they immediately pull the rug out from freaking Spence. The dude that's feeling anxiety was like already like, and then they go, no help for anyone in your team. And like, oh my gosh, just the sword of Damocles hanging over this poor dude. Like, everything about this show just turns the intensity of small decisions up to 11. Like, everything just feels so dire and so important and urgent in the moment, when we all know it's just a reality game show, right? But it just feels so, like, huge for each of them, and to get that across to us, I think, is a testament to the show, that they've edited, they've put together, they've cut, they've whatever, the cast, the production levels, the music, the way they put it all together has just been like spot on. I'm really impressed with it.
Yeah, and also I feel like the reveals of games as well is always up to a mystery. So for the first couple of games, everyone's like, "Oh yeah, it's red light, green light is the cookie one." But then with the Warships ones, people were teaming up specifically for tug of war. That was everyone's, like that's on the forefront of everyone's mind. They're like, we want physically strong people. You get like Brighton, for example, like no one wanted to have anything with him in the first couple of episodes except for the other jocks. But then now everyone wants him because he's going to guarantee them a win, basically. And then they walk on out and they're like,
Battleship.
What's all this? It's Warships, actually.
Sorry, Hasbro. Don't sue us, Hasbro.
It's absolutely.
Hey, I got a question for people, because I got confused and I almost had an argument with my wife. Not really, but which one's the battleship? When people say, like, before, I think it was Dolores did the classic line. Here it is. "You sunk my battleship." Like that was the
Yeah.
ad. I was like, "Oh, you sunk my battleship." Which one's the battleship? Because I thought it was the big one. Like if you can get
No,
the 5, that's the carrier, isn't it? The
that's the
battleship's the
aircraft
tiny
carrier.
one because it's
It's
the hardest to find. The 2.
I'm pretty sure. No, so the 2, I believe, is just like I don't know how to describe it, but it's basically like a speedboat with like a Gatling gun at the back. But it's the 4-1.
It's the 4
So
one.
I'm pretty sure it's a 4-1 because 3 is the destroyers, I believe, and then
And
4 is
I
the
mean,
big battleship.
if you're going by like this is a game show based on a scripted show, right?
Yeah.
And then they picked a game. It's based on a real life game, but there's also a scripted movie. And I really wish Rihanna and aliens were in this one for us, like just for that one episode.
Yeah.
It's like aliens, Rihanna's there. You know, that would have been Battleship. Horrible, horrible movie.
Yeah.
But I'll watch anything with Rihanna in it. So, you know.
I mean, I actually personally enjoyed that movie, if I'm being perfectly honest.
Of course you did. You probably thought the aliens were real.
I mean, maybe I was a young kid when I watched it. But how funny would that have been, though, if they had like Rihanna and some of the other cast members as the captain and the lieutenant? You know, like
What did the lieutenant do, by the way? What did the lieutenant like?
Literally
Did
nothing.
you like this game? Because as I said before, like I thought it looked visually spectacular, and it did have that thing where I said the intensity and the which way are they going to pick? Like there's a lot of suspense built into a game like that, which is really cool. But again, like there's zero control anyone has except for the like the lieutenant didn't even really do anything, did they? It's just the captain, pretty much. So it's like, like I'm standing on this boat. Not my fault that I'm dead, but now I'm out of this game for $4.5 million just because I stood here. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like that fell a bit flat for me. But again, it kind of goes part and parcel with a lot of the game. It's unfair. It's brutal. It's just not, you don't have control and you're kind of subject to the will of the squid.
Yeah, exactly. There was one moment that really got me like exciting and sort of like jumping on my couch, and that was when poor Brighton, I'm sorry, I'm obsessed with this man, Kahuna. Like, let me tell you, I'm really obsessed with Brighton at the moment, and it's where
do not call him a frat boy, that's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. He's definitely
man.
not a frat boy. Otherwise he will snap you in half.
That dude, man, the phone boy, when he called him a frat boy, he pressed on his aura. Like he was like, like he was like, I could just feel the energies like, and then he goes, I'm not going to do anything. We're on the show, but when we're out of here, maybe I will. And he goes, okay, frat boy.
That was so funny. That was so good.
But Brighton, you like Brighton. You're obsessed with him.
I love Brighton.
Like, but you like villains. You like people that are not necessarily people that sometimes are likable. But Brighton is like the NFL jock. People already think.
Yeah.
But even on Battleship, Hasbro Warship, even when he was doing Warship, he goes, I've never seen this game. I don't know how to play, but I'm definitely not going on the front line. Everyone knows you don't go on the front line. Like, you literally just said you don't know how to play, Brighton. Dullen. Bright my ass, man. I've never seen this game. I have no idea how to play it, but you definitely don't go up there.
Well,
bye-bye.
In a way, he was right.
No, he wasn't.
He was up there, and the ship sunk.
No, he refused to go where she put him. He said, "No, I'm staying back a bit here a bit." If he went on the very, very front line, no one shot up there.
True. Okay, never mind.
The captain said, "Bring it all the way." He goes, "I'm not going up there, the front line in a war." Like, it's not a war, you moron. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, but something that I loved though was when his part of the ship got hit, and I was devastated when that happened, and because he was on the 2-person ship. But then
with my dude Adrian as well. Like, I was
Adrian.
He was with him because I was like, Brighton can go, but I want the Aussie who looked good. Like, he was doing really well. He did the umbrella.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, he was doing very good, I think. So, yeah, and I was like, Aussie, but yeah.
Yeah.
He was with Brighton.
But Brighton sort of told the captain, aim for here, and then they landed it, right? You know, they landed a hit, and it was sort of a race between, because that was a 3-person ship, and Brighton was on a 2-person ship. It's kind of a race
Yeah.
where they're going to go. But I thought, nah, Brighton is done.
That
But then they
dynamic, that dynamic was really interesting. Like when you know, and that plays out in real Battleship. But when you play Battleship,
Yeah.
Warship, sorry Hasbro. I'm gonna keep doing that.
Yeah.
There's that thing of like, man, they know where my ship is, and they need to get this next shot right.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I've got their ship, and it's like, do I go up? Do I go left? Do I go right? And
Yeah.
you've got basically a 50-50 shot at dying or going home, and that dynamic of like, oh, like, do I go here? Do I go there? It was really kind of basic, like Hasbro Warship is a is a very like basic game,
Yeah.
but the stakes again just felt so big, and they really like edited it so well that we were like, oh my gosh, what are they gonna pick? Like, where are they gonna hit? Like, and every time they'd miss, you'd be like, oh,
yeah.
like you either have relief or you're upset. It was kind of great, to be honest with you, for something so rudimentary, so basic. It played out well for television, I thought.
Yeah, and there's even a moment where we had poor Rick and Mad Dog Stefan on the same ship, and Rick was the last one left, and it was either they get their next shot right and they win, but if they miss, the other team gets their shot right. And
Yeah,
then, they're gone. And it's like, that was just so intense and was so good. There's a couple of comments here. First of all, Jigs, welcome to the live. The umbrella guy was the one that made me think of actors with those constant fake comments. I mean, I don't know.
I don't know if he was fake, but I think they juiced up the audio.
I think so too.
Yeah, like I think in the room he might have just been like silently kind of, and they were just like, like the most exaggerated like. Like no, he was probably doing it a little bit quieter, but they juiced it up, yeah, for sure.
But if you look inside his
he wasn't
tin,
acting, though.
Yeah, if you look inside his tin, like you could see that there was some kind of liquid that was like almost completely filling up the tin, and it's like, I don't know if that's sweat, I don't know if that's just sometimes when you like vomit, but it's not exactly vomit that comes out, sort of that
it's
weird liquid.
phlegm.
Yeah, phlegm. I was like, is it phlegm? Because that was just nasty.
But that's kind of what you got to do, right? Yeah. What is the approach? Like we're kind of swapping back and forth between red light, green light, battleship, warship. Sorry, Hasbro.
Warships.
And the Dalgona cookies, but they kind of all immediately knew the technique of licking the back, right? Because they've seen the show. They didn't hide, or at least no one found a hidden lighter. I thought that would have been a really interesting little Easter egg. Like if you're on the swing or something, they should have put a slide in there and just hid one, like just in case anyone found it. It would be like a cool little thing. But no, that's not fair. But it would have been interesting, just a little wink to the show. But they all knew to lick it immediately. Are there variations or the evolution of that strategy? Because I think what he was doing, at least what I would do, is rather than just licking the crap out of the thing, I think you spit in the tin and let it like soak in there, like
let it drown.
Like get more liquid onto it than you can do. Just I don't like that action on camera.
Well, I'm someone who I've always thought, why not just eat it? Like
around the edges.
Yeah, eat around the edges, right? Like take as many good chunks off as possible, right?
That is risky business, though.
It's definitely risky because if you're just slightly too hungry, a lot can go wrong. But it's like you take let's say it's like the umbrella, for example, right, which is the hardest one. It's still got a circle perimeter around it. So what you do is you just take bites of it, sort of around it. So then you've only just got small edges around. So it's not like you're trying so hard to get like a big piece off, which may require more effort for you to dig in, a little bit more force. It's like you've only got just a small bit.
I just think if you're biting it, you don't know where the crack is going to, like what line it's going to follow when you crack through. Like, I think it could go straight through the umbrella handle or whatever. Like, I think if you're just like, you need to be maybe not like a bite, maybe like a chipmunk style, like Like just
Yeah.
yeah. You know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
We're here, man.
Yeah, I guess we've talked a wee bit about the cookie game. We've talked a bit about warships. Let's quickly talk about red light, green light, as it was the I guess last, well, I guess it was actually the first, but it's like the only game we haven't really talked about aside from the twists and the tests. So we open up straight away to red light, green light. What's your thoughts on this?
I mean, red light, green light is awesome because that is.
Sorry, I just have to. Thank you, brother. Thank you. Sorry, Kahuna, what were you saying there?
Well, the doll in red light, green light is Squid Game. Like she is the maybe even more than the triangle, circle, square mask. Maybe more than the overall dudes. That doll is so synonymous with the game. So it was great to see it. And I think I also heard that the room was actually the same size. It was like exact copy of the show. So like that was great, but it's still pretty generic. Like what made a really boring generic game of red light, green light amazing in the drama is that the doll also has a gun. So from that perspective, it's it's not, the challenge doesn't stand on its own, but with context of the doll, the atmosphere, the setting, it's the first challenge. There's like people dying left and right. I love the girl that was like, why did I stop in this pose? Like,
oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, when she squatted.
Why did I squat for? That's so great. And some of them I thought were like when they run and stop. I'm like, I mean, duh, you look like you're running for 2 seconds after everyone else has stopped. But there were some people that were getting shot. I'm like, did they move? Like that looked a bit.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, they are like harsh, man. They're picking the tiniest movements, But so from that perspective, it was great. It looked great. It was awesome because it is Squid Game. But just red light, green light in and of itself is not that great. But they made it look great.
Yeah. I mean, in Crab Game, which is probably my favorite adaptation of, all the remakes and stuff of Squid Game, even if you just turn your camera to see what's next to you, you die. You get shot because you're technically still moving your head.
Oh, right.
Because one thing about Crab...
That's what they were doing as well. Like, a lot of times they were just, like, staring in the one direction, So...
Yeah.
Interesting. It was still fun because it's, like, it's the game that sort of started it all for Squid Game.
Yeah. But something that I wish had happened, because I do this all the time when I play Crab Game, is that during red light, green light, just hold it behind someone, but just push them. Or like right before they stop, just put your foot out so that they trip over.
The only problem with that strategy is, and I feel like this is what would have played out in the vote off, where they were picking 3 people and that to enter the numbers.
Yeah.
If you do that and there's anyone behind you, Mucky, anyone behind you, what do you think happens to you next stop?
Exactly. It's like you better start gupping.
Yeah. So maybe don't take, like, because I think so far I feel like the meta strategy, if you want to go far in this game, you do not stand out at all for like good reasons, bad reasons. When there's 456 people and they're looking for the tiniest, smallest excuse, like that person's too big, that person's too good, that person didn't talk to me. So to be able to make you to go into red light, green light and shove people, I promise you, Mucky, that's not going to go down well with like the 455 other people on this show, and you immediately get pushed or tripped or voted out, or any punishment is like coming straight your way. You'd be worse than like Johnny Two Meals over there.
Well, it's quite funny because originally I was thinking, with Brighton, it's like, people can be mad at him. Like, he can just keep doing what he's doing. He keeps pissing people off. He is untouchable unless if it comes down to like a marbles or a non-physical challenge or even the glass bridge, like what we saw happen with the gangster dude Doc Sue. But then as soon as they started being like, now people can choose who to eliminate, you can't pull the Docs. You can't be. Can you imagine if like Russell Hantz from American Survivor was on this, and he was being like a massive dick to everyone, just because why not? And then they come up with, okay, and now we're going to vote people off. You're screwed.
Yeah, he's gone.
Yeah, he's gone. He's gone. Yeah.
He was that in Survivor. They already hated him on that. So imagine
Yeah.
he's doing. Yeah.
But any other thoughts you want to touch on about the games before we start talking about some of the new twists?
So so we only saw the 3 games, and then because I'm like counting the tests. I'm counting like everything in my head, and it's like there was this and there was this and there was this. But the 3 main games were visually fun. The tenseness of Dalgona from tricking everyone from thinking they know what's going to go on, and then putting this twist that just added so much more to it. Like the pressure cooker of having to do the cookie in it itself, and the way Dash was like in that moment, like you felt like but then they took that and added the thing at the start with that kind of level of conflict and like Sophie's choice decision. Do I take the umbrella and say and have a go, or do I die? Like or get out of the game? Like just a fascinating level of another layer of complexity on top, which really made it. So far, even though the games itself, if you were to play it, like like a Backyard Survivor or something like that, the games aren't necessarily like red light, green light, battleship, warship. Sorry, Hasbro, and licking a cookie, but it's how you can film it and cut it and edit it and make an amazing product for TV, even though it may not translate to real life. Because at the end of the day, these are children's games, and there's a reason why we don't necessarily play them every day as adults, because it's not that fulfilling, it's not that satisfying, it's not that challenging. It's whatever it is, we don't do it anymore. Maybe it's because we've lost all hope in our inner child, and we're kind of all slowly marching towards the inevitable death that waits us all. But maybe that's why. But they made it fascinating, interesting, and that cannot be understated at all.
Well, something that I'm going to be doing now, I'm not sure if I'm really allowed to talk about this on the podcast, so I'm going to say it anyways, because this is the Mucky take, right? Not the nullified take. So for my 22nd, which
Mucky is Brighton. He does what he wants. He's untouchable.
Yeah, exactly. All you guys are in Australia now. I'm still in New Zealand. Chris can't hunt me down. But for my 22nd, it's going to be Survivor themed. But I'm making, because originally I was wanting to do my own Survivor, but it was too expensive, man. I'm not going to pay for that just by myself. But I'm making a backyard drunk Mucky Hope Survivor. So if your team loses, you have to take a big gulp of your drink, right? And so it's kind of like the more you lose, the more drunk you get, so the more stupider decisions you make as you get along. And I have been thinking about adding some of these, Squid Game ones, and like red light, green light being like the first merge challenge. But by this time, everyone is already so drunk.
I mean, you could very easily get a few Jack in the Boxes to add.
Definitely.
Your test wise, you could definitely do some stuff. Like you could probably make Dalgona biscuits pretty easily. We should say biscuits, shouldn't we?
Yeah, I reckon biscuits.
Not cookies.
No, not cookie. Definitely biscuit.
Actually, that is one thing that I'm not that pleased about the show, is that it is very, very American.
Yes.
We do have like Lorenzo, the token Italian, and there's some Brits in there. There's a couple of Aussies in there. There is a mix, but it's very, very American. And I haven't seen a single South Korean. Like, is there any actual Asians from Asia in the show?
Yeah.
Like,
definitely.
I would hope that you would have some representation from Korea, considering what the show is based on.
Yeah, and something that we were talking about on our preview podcast is how exciting that, because this show casted globally, anyone around the world could, apply for this. You could be some island off of, Ukraine, and you could apply potentially get on the show. And something we talked about was with some of the new games that we're bringing in, are they going to be like, Battleships is very American, that American kids play. Are we going to get like a Russian kids game, like a Aussie, like Kiwi game we did as kids, like an Asian game, Korean game, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Are we going to get like a kids game from all these different cultures and all these different places around the world and add them to this show? But I'm not sure about you, Kahuna, but something that I've sort of picked up is that it's definitely quite American. And I think the potential that other games we might get would also potentially be quite American.
Yeah.
As well.
Like, I get it. Netflix is American. They're obviously, the superpower and blah, blah, blah. But, I thought it was a chance to make it a truly global game, especially with subtitles, and they could easily dub stuff like who knows. But that's my one drawback. But if that's it, like I'm loving the show so far. The games have been great.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some tests.
Yeah, let's talk about some tests.
The tests were kind of even more. The tests were worse than the games, right?
Oh, bro, the tests were like the most unfair part. Like I'd say, Chris has told me how he would never apply for the traders because like you can get voted out for just the slightest reason.
Yeah.
Like quite famously, Mike Peru in Traders New Zealand, when the first trader got out, he just like sat back in his chair and was smiling, and everyone took that as like, oh, he's obviously a trader because he didn't stand up and start applauding, right? And so you can be voted for just like the most weirdest things. But now, in my opinion, Kahuna, Squid Game is the hardest reality show because you can get eliminated, like where the first test where Kyle and Danny, just be like, okay, you can give someone an advantage. Or just eliminate someone just like that, or in the Jack in the Box, eliminate 3 people right then and there. Or even just open a box that just says you're eliminated, mate.
Yeah, well, I knew that was going to be the case. I was like, there's definitely one of those is eliminated, and I thought it would be 1 in 6. And you happened. I didn't see the 3 elimination. I didn't see the advantage.
Yeah.
So I mean, that was cool as well. Like, really interesting to watch. Like so much, and I think when we talk about strategy and how strategy may not apply to the challenges as much or the games, they certainly apply to the tests. That's where the strategy comes in, and that's really fascinating because that's the bit that they're adding. They're adding this part to the show, and that's the part that has the most opportunity for like deceitfulness, for strategy to play out. Like, am I making the smart move? Am I making the right move? The games are just survive, like do the right thing, but it's not big picture. It's not that guy's a threat, that guy's an alliance. It's just play the game so you don't go out. But the tests are like, what am I doing to get me to the end? Which is so cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. And I mean, something I even said just before we started, going live because I was too busy trying to finish off the main character's Squid Game slideshow, is that I feel like this is what $1 Million Island Season 2 could have been like. Now, not in terms of if you lose, you die or something like that, but I think, something can you just imagine, camp versus camp and just boom, gone,
No one's quitting on Squid Game. No one's quit.
Yeah, no one's quit, like compared to
$1 Million Island, man, they quit in bunches. There was the same amount of people going out, but it was just their own bat. They're like, nah.
Yeah, I'm done. But something though is that with $1 Million Island is that we did have some strategy, I guess similar to Squid Game, which is I'm gonna put myself in the hot seat in these challenges because if I win, I could get a high reward, like with the bracelets. But more often than not, starting from legendary Mike Chapman, it was a flop, right? Like the whole idea.
We know that.
And there wasn't much strategy until our boy Jordan took the food from Vine Camp and then still put them in the elimination process anyways. And I feel like more stuff like that would happen since people know what the game is like, because apparently there was strategy out there that we've heard from some of the players off the show, that there was strategy happening but just wasn't making the edit. So I feel like more intense strategy and I guess like alliance building on, because we do see so many different alliances sort of form. But then when you have people who are like, hey, pick 3 people to eliminate, they're not taking out the singles or even the mum and the son. They're taking out the people in the big groups. Like we had, Stefan and Rick, sort of the main faces of the Ganabu gang, just get picked off just like that.
That was dumb too.
Yeah.
Like you're talking
You think that
about
was
strategy. That was
Yeah.
hard. Like Steven, absolutely. Keep Rick.
Yeah.
Keep
Oh,
Rick
yeah,
till the
definitely.
end. Like, what are you doing? Like, you want that dude on tug of war, right?
Yeah.
Like, why are you
Exactly.
why are you getting rid of the old guy? Like he gave confessionals that made us think maybe he's putting it on a little bit. He's like they were giving him the edit of like the main, like the boss, the
Oh, yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, ooh,
Yeah.
the sneaky old man that no one knows
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
actually in charge of it all.
Yeah.
And he was dope. He said that he's got freaking leg sleeves, like he's
Yeah.
tattooed. He's got
next
no
to-
room. And he's also a doctor. He's a physician.
Yeah.
And he was there standing and going, that doc guy, I don't like doctors. They're so smart. They always talk like that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't hang around doctors, blah, blah. And I'm like, and then he comes, he goes, so I'm a doctor. I'm like, ah!
yeah. That's so good.
That's awesome. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but I don't know why. Like, if you're taking a shot at that group, definitely take out a Steven. Brighton's already gone. Take out a Steven. So that's their de facto, the next leader in line. Take him out. You don't have to take Rick with him. Rick's now isolated. Rick lost his son. Like, by the way, that scene really kind of touched me when they were doing the what challenge was it? Oh, the envelope thing.
Daichi?
The envelope game.
Yeah. Is it Daichi? Yeah.
I forget what it's called, but
yeah,
the fact that like
stops me from saying
he goes, well, that means dad, and he goes, well, and we got the confessional about how he doesn't have it, like his dad's out of the picture. He's never known. He's a bit of an asshole. And then we see this touching moment between Rick and Steven. He goes, I'm okay with that if it means dad.
Yeah.
And he's like, my wife won't let me bring another kid. Like it was really sweet, like, and really touching. I'm loving the moments in between the games, and the games are a visual feast, and then all the people are giving like human moments, characters. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There was it's actually quite funny because when they were playing that game Daichi and then the guards came in and they're like, Stefan, you lose. I was thinking, oh my gosh, has Rick accidentally just taken his own side out of the game? I'm like, what?
That's what I mean. Nuts. Like you just don't know. Like nothing is predictable. Could it be a treat? You pick up the phone once, you get a burger. You pick up a phone twice, you get eliminated. And it's like you don't know. And I think the real thing is, like, I'm not volunteering for anything. Like Mickey, is it Mickey? Mikey, the Irish dude.
Yeah.
Like when they were doing the orange juice and looking for volunteers, one of his corner crew was like, and he's like, no, come back. Yeah, like,
what are you doing? Yeah.
Because you just don't know. Maybe he gets advantage, which you may not necessarily want, because if you start killing people off, like what was her name? Cheney? Cheney.
Yeah,
Cheney she said, I'm keeping a pretty low profile. And then when it got to the voting, like she took a shot at Lorenzo. Was it? No, not Lorenzo. She took a shot at someone.
It was the I think it was the doctor.
Yeah, the doctor. She took a shot at the doctor, and then obviously by doing so, she then gets nominated as well. She didn't get the votes, but by putting it out there, if you want to get the advantage, I want to pick up the phone so I can eliminate someone. Now all of a sudden, his gang that you just eliminated, they're coming for you. Or the people that thought you were nice and gentle and trustworthy, they're like, oh, he's now, he's a bit of a snake. Like, there's just so much that could go wrong. I'm like staying back from everything. I'm outlasting rather than outwit and outplay, right? Outlast.
Yeah. It's so hard because it's like, because my personal sort of thing, right? And, this is my, I guess, thought process for us to ever be on Survive or any sort of reality show like Traders or even Squid Game. Is I'm there to have the time of my life, right? When you think about it, like, is it going to be a Squid Game All-Stars? Most likely not. Squid Game heroes versus villains, bring back Brighton as a villain. But like, most likely no, right? But so my whole sort of thing is like, you go out there, play how you want to play. If you're like first out, well, you went out swinging, right? And it's like, yeah, you could like look back, be like, yeah, this and that, this and that. But if it works out, like a George in Brains versus Brawn, you know, like magically somehow we made it to the end. But I feel like it's just the whole thing of
different game though, right?
oh, completely different game.
Not as many opportunities to rally votes, and you can get the numbers on your side. This one, if someone just gets that ultimate power to say eliminate one person, and you smiled at them wrong yesterday, or like in the bathroom when you're brushing your teeth, you knocked his elbow, like you're gone, and it's so hard. You got to kind of toe the line. See, you would say you'd go out there and just play the way you want to play. You're 22, turning 22.
Yeah.
I showed before my 3 children, which is why I would want to go as far as possible.
Mm.
And JGS3MM said, this is the thing why I would take a low profile. Not just for the game, but because it's 4.56 million US, which I think in Australian, it might be even worse for New Zealand. I think in New Zealand dollars, that's about 87 million bucks. Right?
Yeah.
Like, it's a lot of money. It's the biggest prize in the history of television. Like, nothing has even come close to this. Like, usually $1 million is the max. And Survivor started at $1 million, like, however many years ago, and it's still $1 million now. Like, wait, Winners at War, they went up, didn't they? Made it a big one?
They're to 2 million, but that's because everyone had already received the millions. It was like, why not make it,
So that was the biggest at that point. And then Squid Game just like, I don't want to describe that action I just did. You know what? That's what Netflix did.
Yeah.
Netflix was like, hey, CBS, $2 million.
It's like here is my binder.
4.56 million, man. 4.56 million is a huge, life-changing amount of money, which is why, like, nowadays, $1 million is still a hell of a lot of money. Like, it is absolutely life-changing money, $1 million. But I mean, in Sydney, and I know it's the same in Auckland and stuff, it's probably a 3-bedroom flat now. Like, the average house price in Sydney is $1.2 million. Like, in Sydney, it's 1.2 is the average, right? You need to be earning $260,000 a year as a household to be able to buy a house in Sydney. I've done the maths because I'm in that position. You'll worry about that later and get the grey hair that I have. But 4.56, like, holy crap! It's not even 4. Like, it's 4.5. Like, it's pushing 4.6. Like, it's so much money. So
no, it's really nice. It's like definitely. Like seeing the money, I guess, like when you're a bit older, it's like that is really life changing. Like, you could potentially go into retirement. You've got a future for your kids.
I'm setting them up.
Yeah, exactly. But it'd be quite concerning if I was, doing it for my kids. Well, because first of all, I don't have any, and I do have a pedo staff, so there might be a few raised eyebrows. Coming my way. If I brought that up, But yeah, like, I guess it's like a generation thing almost. Like, we do see Brighton. He's very loud. He's very out there. Like, yo, come on, let's go, right? He's doing push-ups right before bed. Like, I don't know about you, Kahuna, but there's no way I'm doing push-ups before bed.
Showing them how to do it. You're like, do it like this, come on.
Yeah.
They're like,
yeah. And but we do see people like Leanne, for example, the mother. And I don't know about you, Kahuna, but I'm loving her this season.
Yeah.
And I'm actually so sad that she's going up against Marbles because, I hate to talk about the edit, but her son, let me just find the slide, Trey. I think he's the winner. I really think he's the winner. So I mean, I'm sort of thinking that they have to show a main character, like a character.
I was thinking Steven for a while there. I thought Steven was getting a really good edit. I'm like, oh, is this a winner's pick here? But yeah, Trey's looking good as well, actually. Or does he make the ultimate sacrifice? Or Mum would make the sacrifice for him, obviously, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Throw it?
I don't know, because she might make the sacrifice, but then she takes the mask off at the end.
I do like that Leanne was like, she said, I was an editor at New York Times, obviously very switched on, very smart. But she said, I was in sports writing because I'm an athlete. I played sports my entire life, and I'm like, oh, that's that's a twist. I bet no one in that room even knows. And yeah, she's older, but she's got a base, like a foundation of competing, and that can't be understated. Why someone of her vintage is in the final 60 odd. You know what I mean? Like there's a reason why she's very good, is because she's smart, she's switched on, and she's obviously capable. But I'm saying that she's smart, and then she sat at a picnic with her son, and I'm like, that's a dumb move. So like even the smartest people can get done by a game like Squid Game, I guess.
Yeah. But like, there's even a very underrated moment, to my opinion, which I feel like no one's really talking about in terms of strategy, which is a lot of people sort of ignored Brighton for his loud and I guess like how abrasive he was. But she was like, "No, I'm going to go talk to him. I'm going to build a friendship with him, so that when time comes for tug of war, he will have my son and I on the team." And she gets to understand him, which I found is so funny. She's trying to find a deep inner meaning behind him. It's just like, "No, I love myself. God made me the way I am, so I'm just perfect."
100%. Yeah. He someone stated correctly before, he would be really good on the challenge, I think. And I think Lorenzo would too. Like someone mentioned Lorenzo. He does for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think let's quickly talk about Lorenzo, right? He steals the two containers of food. And what's so funny is that people, as a Jada,
Jada.
Jada, she was watching him the entire time. And when people
got another one. He's like commentating.
Yeah, it was so funny. So he would sit, with a bunch of different groups, and they would be like, "Oh, I don't really like the food," and it's like, "Oh, I'll have it." He just starts eating. It was so funny. I was hoping that.
You gonna finish that? You gonna finish? Are you gonna eat all that? Are you gonna throw it away? Like, yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah. But we talked about Shaney making the big move on the dock. Let's talk about Leanne. Is that how you say her name? Leanne?
Leanne? Yeah.
Leanne, yeah. Trey's mum, yeah. How she made the singular move to put up Lorenzo.
Yeah.
Yeah. When there's only like
they have tension? I didn't remember did they have a run-in? Or was it just the 2 meals thing?
She just found him rude. He was rude to her like one time. She's like, "Nah, you are gone." It's like the Matt Elrod and Boston Rob and Redemption Island. It's like, "Hey, he's not sure he's on my side or not, so I'm going to send him back to Redemption Island." It's like, "Hey, he was rude to me one time, so you're gone." Yeah, you're done.
Yeah. But so again, she'd obviously fostered some strong relationships, but by doing so, in the line ahead of Lorenzo then gets to put her on the board, right? That's the strategy. Yeah, exactly. Sure, vote someone out, but make sure it's someone that's already gone and can't take their revenge on you with their nomination, right? If they had only stuck to 3, then there's no other options before, right? But someone needs to take the 3. Again, goes back to my strategy. Do not be first to line up. Like, do not be first for anything. Like, be in the middle somewhere. See what's happening. See what's going on. Then you can work out what you're doing. When you're at the front and you're first off the line, you're just completely taken by surprise about what's going to come up. There's zero chance to strategize. There's zero chance to figure out what the best approach is. And like I was saying, I would do that too, but if people that are gone, like you got to pick someone who's already gone to be able to, so that there's no flack, unless their mates are behind or whatever. But
I mean, it's really hard because it wasn't like vote one person out. It's you have to vote off 3 people with the highest number of votes. And at that point, there was only 2. You had, I forgot his name, but he was telling people that he didn't really want to be there to keep it like a low profile. But then they took it. It's like, no, we got to put you up, mate. And then you had the doc, and then you had Leanne she put up, or maybe it was like Lorenzo was the number 2.
Lorenzo then the doc.
Lorenzo then the doc. So it's like eventually another name has to come up. And if you're someone in the middle, you're thinking, who am I going to vote for? They're going to put up my name. So I think sometimes it is
again vote for someone who's already voted.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
we don't know where the votes go. We know that the first vote is not anonymous. If you pick that, it
Yeah.
goes up on screen. But every single tally after that, you don't know. So I mean, just vote for whoever's on the board, and no one knows who I voted for. There's no flack from one to the other until you pick someone. Until you nominate someone, that's when you put your name out there and you stamp it. I'm backing this decision.
Yeah.
So do it for someone who's already gone. Like the strategy
Yeah.
still applies.
Yeah, absolutely. But let's quickly move on to, I guess let's go back to actually. So the first ever test, right, was with Kyle and Danny, and it was so funny. I mean, I found it funny because I just watched a few episodes of South Park because I love South Park and Family Guy. I watched those in my spare time. They cracked me up, and I just watched. It was like an episode of Cartman, and he just kept on screaming, "Kyle! Carl!" And so every time his name kept coming up, I just kept hearing Cartman's voice.
Realize something really, really depressing. Oh man, I'm so depressed right now, Mucky.
Oh no, what's up?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Now I can hear you.
I just realized you are younger than South Park.
I am.
I was watching South Park before you were born. Like that. Oh, like that. Oh. That feels weird. It's South Park. We're not talking about like Happy Days or something. Like South Park is older than our host right now. That makes me sick in the stomach. I feel like Spencer.
It's quite funny because I've got a friend. I just want to say, just before I say my next sentence, we are really close. We're like the closest you can be of friends without being in a relationship, right? And we insult each other a lot, and so she makes fun of my stutter a lot, right? And so quite often she's like, in the middle of like one of my sentences, and then that throws me off to make a stutter. But I feel like now, if you're going to talk to Spencer, just be like, ooh, and I'd really get him going. But we did see, Carl and Danny. I forgot what they do. I think they're like peeling something, like literally peeling carrots, I think. And, and Carl, he's got his, West American accent, like, "Hey girl, I used to, peel potatoes on my farm," and they get given this opportunity. It's the second day or later on in the first day, and they have to make a decision to either give a player an advantage in the next game or to eliminate someone. Did you like that they got the ball rolling and just eliminating someone?
Yeah, absolutely. Take that shot. There's so many people. It's anonymous. No one knows unless you're Kyle and comes out doing that thing. My kids have this thing, and I know people do it, but my kids do it where they like are trying not to smile, and they do that where you like your lips are like you're doing real hard. You're like, and he was like trying hard not to smile, man. But it was like, did you do something? And even the Viking dude that was with him, is like, if you did this, man, I'm gonna get you. I'm like, what? He's like, nah, man, I didn't do anything. He goes, if you eliminate someone, I'm gonna get you. I'm like, oh man. But yeah, like I would do it. I would just play it a lot better than Kyle did. Like the other girl, what was her name? I don't remember.
Her name was Danny, I believe. Let me double check.
Danny played it well, except that she was saying that the guilt was like eating her up, and that the Dalgona was her karma and all that sort of thing. So she wanted to do good. I would still take the move. I would just kind of be a little bit more smooth with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's really hard for me because I laugh and smile a lot. Like we've even had chats outside of podcast. I laugh at everything, right? And so, but it could be winning strategy. It's like I've always thought I would make the perfect spy, right, for any country. Like you send me right to the middle of a war, and I'll be like, Kahuna, I'm a spy. I'm spying on you. You'd be like, all right, this guy's full of shit. Exactly. Just stop sending me voice messages. Just stop.
But you might be in a spy situation, even if it was in Squid Game. You're like infiltrating the Gangbu gang when you're corner crew, and you're over with Gangbu gang, and they're like, man, that corner crew is really done. And you're like, that corner crew is really screwing us, man. They're like, and you're like, that would, you would be like,
and you know, coming from an acting background as well, I'm naturally so over the top.
Oh,
So
you
if
would
someone-
break so much.
I would, yeah. So whenever, like, I feel like if I was to eliminate you, Kahuna, it's like Kahuna's been eliminated. It'd be like, oh, dang it, gosh, no,
He was my alliance.
yeah, no, he's my best friend.
No!
Oh no, gosh, dang it. Oh, hang on, what's
That's
this?
funny.
You'd be getting waterboarded, Mucky.
They immediately find out.
Yeah,
Let's see if
legit.
he's still laughing when. Let's see if he's still saying he's a spy when we waterboard him. And then you're like, "No, I am. I swear, I am. Just stop." And they're like, "We don't know what to believe now."
Something that was like really sad though is that there's a lot of these games, right? You know, I sort of mentioned it earlier, where we can set up all these big characters and then they just get taken out immediately, right? Almost kind of
Yeah.
like $1 Million Island.
I think that's what makes
Yeah,
it so
expansion.
kind of effective. It's a gut punch every time. There have been a couple of people that have gotten rid of that we don't know and we don't care about, but they built up a few people knowing that they're going to pull the rug from under us as viewers, and that's kind of great. Like you like to go on the emotional roller coaster with it means that the show's doing a good job.
Yeah, and even in Red Light, Green Light, yeah, I actually found this really funny because we got a confessional with someone. I forgot her name, but I feel like she was the only one there who actually had like a backstory in terms of I like actually really need the money. Like she actually does fit, like you know what Squid Game is actually all about, and she's the first one eliminated.
Yeah, brutal.
She's the first one eliminated, and we even seen Stephanie's on there with one of his best mates, and his best mate's a more outgoing one, and he dragged him on there, and then bam, the best friend is gone.
Yeah,
right?
so good, so good.
And in the cookie one, I think both Danny and I think Carl was maybe on Star and Danny was on Umbrella or something. But we do see like just a sad montage of just all these people bang, 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 they're all gone.
Yeah.
And yeah, these two people were built up to be strategic players throughout the show are just gone. Yeah, it's really sad.
Welcome to Squid Game. Welcome to Squid Game.
Yeah. And here we go. How about the girl that's story? Well, to be perfectly honest, you know, when she did that, I was sort of thinking, okay, you know, because I've worked on, you know, a couple of TV shows and, you know, short films in my time. Well, I say that, you know, I'm only 21, but
my time.
Yeah, back in my time, for a couple of years ago. It's like you have to get, especially if it's. I've never worked on a reality show, and I'd absolutely love to see how the ins and outs work. But you don't know who the main characters are going to be, right? You got especially in the first game, you've got 456 people. You need to get reaction shots of each and every single castaway, right? And yeah, there's probably like 1 million cameras there as well, specifically doing this, you know, and everything. But they got to get those shots, you know, from the face, you know, from the back of the head, you know, the sort of 360 spins and whatnot of pretty much everyone. And you're there squatting. You know, like think about I actually wonder how much time. Actually, if there's one question I could probably ask any contestant, it literally would be how much time is there, you know, like per game,
like in the freeze.
Yeah,
in the red light. How long is the red light? I think when you're right. When they saw her doing that, they're like, we're gonna keep this one a little bit longer.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, exactly.
So, like, we're gonna hold this red light for a little bit longer. I definitely think they did that one a long time.
Yeah, and I mean, part of me felt sorry for her because like she literally went as far as she could go, and she's like, I'm sorry, I just can't, I'm done, and she gets eliminated. But part of me was also like, why did you squat? Like, like there are probably two things like you could do this. Well, no, one thing you can do that's worse than a squat, and that's like a handstand. Like, during red light.
You're just going on your hands.
Yeah. But also, you know, with the cookie game, we lose Carl and Danny. And Warships, we lose, you know, we lose Brighton. That was really sad. But also, we lose I mean, she's not a popular Survivor player, but a lot of people were happy to see her on the show, and that is Figgy. Did you recognize Figgy?
No, man. I didn't remember. I didn't remember her at all. Obviously, I watched Millennials vs Gen X, but she did not leave an impact on me whatsoever. I don't remember her at all.
Yeah, it's quite sad. I mean, I'll be perfectly honest. I only remember Figgy just because the whole Taylor situation where she had to show mans with Taylor, but then turns out Taylor actually had like a wife and a kid back home the entire time.
Okay,
that's really bad. Yeah, I mean, that's all I remembered.
That season out of my head now.
That's all I remembered, but I actually went back and I watched some clips from Millennials vs. Gen X and I actually forgot how social she was. Like, even at one point during Squid Games, Trey literally says to her, if I was to get eliminated, would you look after my mother? And it's like, I feel like that's just such like a great, like, if you've reached that point with a stranger that you've just met, like, you're playing a phenomenal social game. And I feel like Trey's going deep, and I feel like he's going to be quite, strategic, as he goes. And I thought Figgy could have been that, survivor strategist that sort of helps him or backs him up, and maybe she takes the reign at some point. So it's quite gutting to see her go.
What did I say when you were like, because you said, I'm going to do a quick PowerPoint up. We'll have photos of who the main characters are, right? And you ran a list of them past me. And you said Figgy. And I was like, I know you think she's a main character because, Survivor and stuff. But
yeah, here we go.
Was she a main character on this show? She had 2 minutes in 5 episodes, I think. Like, they didn't even play up that she was in it in the red light, green light. She had nothing up until that moment with Trey and then gone. So, like, I get because you've got, I'm obviously, senile and forget, but the community of reality TV has an affiliation with Figgy being Survivor. You kind of root for that, but she did not, like, you go, oh, she obviously has a brilliant social game. I'm like, really, dude? Like, based on what?
Oh no! I mean, I don't know. I'm just a fanboy, all right? I'm just a fanboy.
Yeah, there you
go. She shared one of my Instagram stories. It's quite funny because I posted a story for like 5 people.
More than enough. I get it now. And I'm with you.
But I got like almost 20 followers straight after she shared that story. I think people was like, oh, maybe she's friends with this guy, or maybe like while she's sharing this stuff. So they're like, bam, instant follow. Like, I should tag her more stuff now.
I mean, okay. If that's the case, then I see why you're like, yep, I might follow her too now, just because she looked after my boy Mucky. Got him 20 followers.
Yeah, 20 followers.
Figgy's the best player on Squid Game ever.
She is, hands down.
just as good as a Sneaky Steve, just as good as a Rogue.
You know what? I'm going to add it to that pile. My favorite player in Squid Game is Figgy. My favorite male and female of Australian Survivor is Sneaky Steve and Rogue. $1 Million Island, Melissa. Do you recall Melissa? She was the lady with the pink hair.
Oh, of course. You probably like the psychologist on Traders as well. Sarah? I think it was Sarah.
I did actually really enjoy
Traders Australia.
Her and Liam, Liam from Traders Australia, two favorite players. I know you haven't seen Traders New Zealand, but someone who Hamish and I will always quote to this day. She was so bad at being a faithful that everyone thought she was a traitor, but then she would accidentally get like a traitor right. But then she would say like very suspicious stuff all completely by accident. And then even had an emotional speech on, I'm a faithful, you gotta start trusting me, because this is all just hate now. And then the traitors seduced her to be a traitor just to banish her. So it's like the whole time she's defending herself as a faithful, and then she got banished and she had to stay from a traitor. But anyways, let's just quickly, skim through some of these tests we haven't talked about. The phone. What did you think of the phone?
Yeah, Brighton was actually bright in that regard, not dull. He was like, don't answer it. I'm not answering that. I'm not taking that. Yeah. Don't take it. Like, well, he's been standing there the whole day. He was eager. He was way keen. You got a burger, and he's like, I'm getting a second burger. Like, what did you think was going to happen here, man? They're not going to give you another burger. Maybe he was looking for an elimination power. He found it. This wasn't the way he wanted. So,
when you're in that spot, though, how do you get out of it? When you're told on the phone, you have to hand this phone to someone else.
Yeah. I don't know. That's
And
a
you
good
have 2
question.
minutes.
What would
Like,
you do? I'm not
I
doing
just don't
chocolate
know.
muffin.
No, I'm not doing chocolate muffin either. Like, maybe something you can do is, hey, I've just been told another player has to pick this phone up to receive an advantage in the next game.
I would have been
But
even harder.
if no one picks it up, then 3 of us get eliminated.
Well, I would have done that approach, but say that he has the power. But he
Oh,
fucked it
okay.
up. Like, sorry, he like gave it away with his face. Like he
Oh,
was
he
like
did. Yeah.
he did
Yeah.
surprise Pikachu, and then he went
Yeah, this is my
shit,
Pikachu.
and everyone that was around him like, whoop, I'm leaving that, and like they walked away from him. I would have just been like, 5, and then start looking, and go, I can eliminate 5 people. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
if I can get someone to take the phone, then I'll save 1 person, right? If another person, then we can get this number down. Otherwise, I'm picking 5 people in the next minute. Like, let's see what happens. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, maybe you threaten them rather than a chocolate muffin. That just sounded so unbelievable. Like, they went from a burger to it. And by the way, I know he's British or whatever, but when you look around the cast and there's all these Americans, like, anyone want a chocolate muffin? Like,
No.
no, bro. Like,
I
keep
mean,
the chocolate muffin.
if I was there and he said chocolate milk, I might have.
I mean,
picked it
you're
up.
gone. You're gone. Yeah.
I mean, but then again, it's literally the classic Kiwi, police 10-7 reaction. I pick up the phone, realize what it is. I'm like, oh, come on.
Oh, come on,
oh,
bro.
come on, bro. and then I would have given it away. Jack in the Box.
Yeah.
What did you think of this twist?
Cool. It's dope. Like, again,
I love
super brutal. Super brutal. Like, 1 person gone immediately. No choice.
Yeah.
Then someone has to pick 3 people, and then someone gets the advantage. And they get done.
Yeah.
Again, going first, complete disadvantage.
Yeah.
Except for the guy, I guess, that, eliminated 3 people. But he didn't get gone from that, did he? No one picked him after that.
No one.
That's what I would have done. The dude that immediately picked 3 people, I pick him. He's good.
Yeah,
Like,
I feel quite bad because the player who had to choose the 3 people, I believe, I forgot what her name is. I was meant to add her to my main character list, but I have yet to do so. But she's going into marbles with one of her close friends. But I see her potentially making a deep run as well. We get the emotional story about how I think like she tried having a kid with her partner, but then it didn't work out, and then they almost broke up. But then now they're back together, and now she's like really trying. I feel like there's a good potential like deep gameplay that we could be getting from it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
there's definitely there's no one now. Like, Trey looks good at the moment, but they might be building him up for that rug pull, because I thought Steven looked good. Trey does have a good story, but beyond that, there's no clear I don't think they're doing a winner's edit necessarily, unless it is Trey. If Trey's it, then that's it. But everyone, because it's so random, everyone has a path. There's no one that you're like 0 chance because they just don't have the connections. They're not getting their votes. There's a chance for everybody in this game, which just makes it super exciting and completely unpredictable.
Yeah. I do just want to quickly have a look at the main characters list real quick, because I think there are a couple still alive. Well, I guess first of all, we've talked about Brighton enough. We don't really need to talk much about Trey and Leanne. How do you think the marbles is going to go down for them?
Leanne lays down.
You reckon she lays down?
100%. I'm a parent. I would do that 1,000 times out of 1,000 for my daughter and she has to recognize that he's probably going to be able to compete better than her as well. As much as the competitor she is, she sat in a hospital room for 8 days when he was not well, which was really touching to hear.
Yeah.
But she will sacrifice for her son. She will not take him out. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
And it's going to be really touching. It's going to be really touching.
Yeah, I feel like this is like really the only pair going into marbles. Like, I think this was if you're a producer and you see them having the picnic, you're like, yes.
Yeah, they're like, yes.
yes, this is what we want. Jada, I just want to say I'm really sorry for the the terrible slideshow, everyone. This was made really late last night and also just before we went on the podcast. So the pictures are perfect. But Jada, what do you think of Jada so far? She's still in it.
Yeah, whatever.
Just
She's like I'm not. I don't think she's gonna do much. I don't have. She called out Lorenzo at the start, and a couple times she's had her face on screen and said things. She seems to be in a bit of an alliance with some people, so that's good. But
yeah,
I don't know. I think there's 456 people. I'm not going to care about all of them.
yeah, true.
So when you say main characters, that's where we
it's-
disagree on some stuff, like Figgy.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, if I'm being perfectly honest, when I talk about main characters, I'm talking about people who I remember from each episode. But with Jada, I mean, I quite like her. I think she's got quite a fun sort of personality, and I can see that taking her a bit deep, especially surviving some of the different tests and twists. But I think with games like Marbles and like Stepping Stones, there is no strategy or social. I mean, I guess with Marbles, a good social game can help you. Like this, that's literally how Sunwoo was able to betray Mad Dog Ali. But stuff like the Stepping Stones or the Glass Bridge, that's definitely coming up. We've seen in all the promos. There is no social game or strategy; it's just pure luck. So I could see potentially going out at that. But I think Marbles and Stepping Stones are probably the two tough ones for her.
Yeah, I mean, I like her. I'm indifferent. I don't dislike her. I don't love her. I'm just she's there.
Yeah. Spencer, have you got any final thoughts on Mad Dog Spencer?
Man, like I'm glad to see him coming out of his shell a little bit, but not the game for my man here.
No.
I get really upset at intense things. I'm not good with confrontation. I'm like, let's go on Squid Game. Holy crap. The most anxiety-inducing show you could even think of. The only way it could be worse for a man like this is if he went in actual Squid Game.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Yeah, I mean, I thought he was all right. Like, the only thing I actually remember about him is the vomit, but I thought it was quite sad. Like, just seeing everyone come in and he's struggling to look them in the eyes, and then it's just everyone is popping off to Umbrella, including himself. I think there's only two or three people that managed to do Umbrella.
Yeah,
and that whole big group of them, it was insane. Figgy, we've already talked about Figgy. Lorenzo, have you got any final thoughts on Lorenzo?
Love Lorenzo. He's a dick. Like the 2 mil thing, not a great strategy, but I think he's a good character and he seems physically capable. I love the whole thing of how he's like, I was an investment analyst.
Yeah.
I hate the corporate world. Capitalism, consumerism, boo. Artisticness, creativeness, yay. I dig that. Like, I wish I could throw off the shackles of corporate world and just follow my passions like podcasting as a full-time job or something like that. But the dude is wearing a flower beanie on his head and he's an investment analyst. It's so great. I loved it.
Yeah, we do have a couple of characters still alive. We've got Shanae. Yeah, she's still around. What's your overall thoughts on? Yeah, what's your overall thoughts?
Yeah, seen as a threat because she's got her little crew, but I mean everyone's sort of paired up or grouped up a little bit. She just sort of made her name known by taking out Doc, and I think that again is a threat. Like you've shown your cards, so as the leader and Dash as well on his way out just fully blew up their game. Like she is the leader of a 4-person alliance and named them by number. He had the receipts, he had it memorized, ready to go. Like that was pretty good and blew up a spot. A 4-person alliance when there's 60 people left is pretty scary, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, I definitely think that she's going to be a big strategic force going forward. I hope she goes far, but I do think she's stuck her neck a bit too out now at the moment. But last but not least, let's talk about B, the gamer chick who saw Warships and it's like, yep, it's my time, baby.
Yeah. Again, main character is a big call from you, I think. She got some screen time because she was literally the captain. Like the coach, the basketball dude also got the same amount of screen time and he got the, because he was a captain. Like I think it was circumstantial. I think she is trying to keep a low profile. I really do dig that she was like, I'm actually a secret genius. I went to mentor when I was 13. I love that stuff. The secret. I hate that stuff on Survivor when they're like, I'm a lawyer, but I'm going to tell everyone I'm a bartender just so people don't threaten. I hate that crap. But in this game, I feel like it's important because it is anything that stands out. So to say I'm actually legitimately a genius. First of all, if you were to do that, what a wanker move to thing to say. Like, actually, I'm a genius. Really, like no one. I don't think any person that's legitimately smart would, come out and say that. But it's pretty impressive,
Yeah, absolutely. There were some other characters, but I just saw what the time is, and I do have to leave for a graduation actually shortly of one of my close friends. But any parting thoughts for the first 5
And
episodes?
I'm all in. I dove in.
Yeah.
I've drank the Kool-Aid of the Squid Game or the really crappy food that Lorenzo took twice. This is a great show. It's produced well. It's visually stunning. It looks like it's every single detail is meticulously planned out, and they've actually added to what was a phenomenal TV show by adding these tests that add even more like anxiety, that add even more stress, that make it even more tense than a show about dying. Like the consequence is death, and this almost feels like and probably because they're real people as well. Like you don't have the suspension of disbelief isn't required as strong because they're actual people. Not according to our man JGS 3MM, Spencer Eagle director. But yeah, I think that adds to it. I'm all in, man. I can't wait for next week. We're gonna do it again next week, same time.
Yeah, next. I mean, I'll have to chat with Chris because since we're covering so many different shows, he doesn't want any clashing at the same time. So we will discuss schedule. But yes, we will be doing another live stream to discuss episodes 6 to 9. So they're breaking it up, Kahuna. So there's going to be 3 episodes next week, and then we'll have a whole week wait.
6, 7, 8, 9.
Oh yeah. 4 episodes. 4 episodes, and then
it's
we'll have
really bad that us 2 grown adults had to use our fingers, man. 6, 7.
Yeah. But Ken, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on, man.
Hey, man. Like I was, you can tell I'm pretty animated and excited about this show. It's awesome. But thank you, Mucky, for taking me along on the ride with you.
Of course, bro.
Me and you, buddy, we're Gumbo gang. I'm not going on a picnic with you for sure.
Yes, we are Ganabu gang, and unfortunately, V could not make it today, but she will be with us for the week 2 recap and for the finale recap of Squid Game: The Challenge as well. If you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button down below. We'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions on all the different shows we're covering. The Amazing Race, Survivor US, Survivor UK, and of course Squid Game: The Challenge.
The real challenge.
The
actual challenge as well.
That's right. Yeah, and Kern and Chris are doing the challenge as well. We love hearing all your thoughts and opinions on all the shows we're doing. So hit the like button and comment all your different thoughts and feelings, and maybe some of your predictions for other games for next week's episodes as well. But until then, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next week for the week 2 recap. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye.